We have the great pleasure of being joined by Jonathan Auerbach, a true expeditionary investor, subject of a very glowing, very recent profile in the Financial Times about the company Auerbach Grayson, and also one of the heroes of my new book, How to Run the World. And very appropriately over his right shoulder is a poster featuring the continent of Africa, which has become a real centerpiece of your business in frontier market investing and brokerage. But why don't you tell us how it is that you have made frontier markets into such a successful business?
Well, I don't know that if we, if the right thing to say is that we've made it a successful business. They've made us a successful business. If we can parse on that thought. But it's as we've discussed so many times, Parag. It's there's this extraordinary secular leveling of the global economic and social playing field going on, and it's been manifested, and particularly recently with everything going on in the Middle East, all of which I call noise. This is all part of the event. People empowered, understanding the information, wanting to have opportunities, and we see this throughout. If we just look at Africa today, in just every single market, and it manifests itself in the ability. There's a little sign up there. You see there, buy Bralewa shares. That was the first IPO ever done indigenously in Rwanda, and I was in Kigali a month ago, and we completed the deal. And it's the largest brewery in Rwanda. Their stock exchange only opened up a year ago, and what is so incredible is that they were able to organize a initial public offering, complete with prospectus, pricing. That poster there was actually there was a small poster, but the same poster was set up were posted as billboards throughout Kigali, and it was an enormous success. It was priced. The company's controlled by Heineken. It's the distributor of all of the local Heineken brands, as well as they have the soft drink licenses from Coca-Cola. But it was priced at 136 Rwandan francs, and it opened for trading about a week later at 220. I mean, it was just a roaring success, and it brought so many, in a country that that has this sort of painful legacy of their genocide of no more than 15 years ago. It's a very energizing event. The fact that they can be owners of companies within their country.
And you live by the slogan, buy when there's blood on the streets, especially if it's your own. And from Zimbabwe to Congo to Palestine, you see opportunities where other people run in fear. So what is it that global investors in America, institutional investors who you work with, is it that they need to understand about the high potential of all of these frontier markets?
Yeah, it's the most parochial and naive investors in the world are the U.S. institutional investors. They are so minimal in the amount of assets that they have dedicated to the emerging and the frontier world, certainly compared to other major private and sovereign wealth organizations. But there is a significant momentum that's coming. I think a lot of it is just driven by this perspective that the U.S., given the economic problems we're trying to solve over the past couple of years, is clearly on a roll to diminish the omnipotence of the dollar. We never admit it, but that's what's happening. You can see that's what's going on, and it manifests itself in commodity prices worldwide. And you can't listen to Bernanke, give his press conference as he did last night, or whatever he called it last night, and tell you that inflation is a transitory event. See how.
You travel in Africa almost every month, and you've probably witnessed and come across and rubbed shoulders with a growing number of the Chinese investors, both public and private, that are active on the continent. And their slogan has been "Trade, not aid." Sounds like you wholeheartedly agree with that.
Absolutely. Because that's the way you build partnerships, and that's the way you build trade relationships. That's the way that we built our company. I've got 127 broking partners in 127 countries around the world, and it's all, what started out as a purely commercial arrangement, which is I'll bring business out of the U.S. to invest in your country through your company as the intermediary, and we'll share the commissions 50-50. That was the business basis of all of it. But out of this, after many years, while we still share 50-50, becomes very sort of collegial relationships. It's no longer just this commercial event, which then leads you into looking at other opportunities. Can I show you this business that I'm looking at? Brings you an understanding of what's going on in education or the arts. So much so that whenever we go to some emerging or frontier market, not only do we visit the major companies that might be needing finance, or that clients would want to, U.S. investors would want to invest in, but we also go around and find out what's going on in the art business. I remember that I was an original resident of Soho back in the 70s in New York. When it was this sort of desolate, Soho was a frontier market. I remember parents would call up, when my children wanted a play date, and ask if the area was safe. Can you imagine that? But that's why we look at where the artists are congregating and what they're doing in an emerging market, because the patterns repeat themselves.
Note to viewers, this is how successful investors should dress in the 21st century. Jonathan Auerbach, you are a true pioneer and friend and adventure investor of frontier markets. Thanks so much for joining us on foreignpolicy.com. And let's have a last look at your Iron Man watch there.
Ah, yes.
This is the must-have accessory for traveling in frontier markets.
And also the mark of a warrior.
That he is. Let's close with, give us an African warrior saying.
Jumbo.
Thank you, Jonathan.